Welcome to the Pod Bay Door.
Hello out there in the verse. This is the Pod Bay Door. Please join us every Tuesday for informed discussions on new and upcoming movies, games, and tech. And if you love Las Vegas, stay tuned because as Vegas insiders, we can give you a unique perspective on its history, provide insider information, and reveal the unknown secrets of our town, Vegas. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We're glad you're with us. And hey, if you get the chance, subscribe to us and give us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Also check in with us on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast.
What is a podcast?
It seems to run on some form of electricity.
We'll tear your soul apart.
They're here. I see dead people.
Welcome to the podbaydoor.com. This is our Las Vegas Halloween special. Coming up on this episode, we will discuss Elvis, rotting corpses, and the science of horror. Favorite movies, candy, and games of the season. And, of course, a Halloween-themed Headless Report, Nerd Alert, Brain Grinders, and Area 52. A quick hello to all the guys that came in from California and elsewhere, known in the Twitterverse by the hashtag Oceans14XL. I think it's a reference to the Oceans 11 series. Chris over there at Faces and Aces podcast. He's one of the administrators of that little group coming over. So hope you guys had a great time in Vegas. Thanks for inviting me out to say hello. And they actually answered the question to one of our queries regarding the virtual reality arena. They enjoyed it. They agreed it was a little expensive, $50 for 30 minutes. That's a little pricey.
Per person?
Per person, yes. But they said they had a great time, but they said they had a great time due to the fact that they had a really great group.
So if you have an event and a group of people that you're going to enjoy it with,
that's right.
Come and do it.
Yeah, so I'm going to, I guess I'm going to call that an 8 out of 10. Now, I'm judging it for them, but based on the description I got, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
I still want to check it out.
Yeah, we will. We will.
I'll wait for the Groupon deal.
Yeah, Groupon. And we have a quick, I guess, a self fact check. John had mentioned something on last show that apparently he found that was incorrect.
Yes, I'm giving myself the award this week for he's full of shit.
Nice, good call.
You know, like what was that? Scotty Sterling? Remember that guy?
Yes.
The guy. Hey, I'm not just the president of the. Oh shit, I'm going bald club. I'm actually a member.
That's
whatever
right.
it was. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. I listen to the podcast when it's during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And last week I had mentioned that Robert Lowell had discovered Pluto. That's incorrect. Robert Lowell was an American poet. I have his collection For the Union Dead sits on my shelf. What I really meant was what I wanted to say was Percival Lowell.
Yes.
And the Lowell Observatory is where Pluto was discovered. I was correct about that.
Yes.
But it wasn't Percival Lowell who actually discovered Pluto. It was a gentleman named Clyde Tombaugh, but he was from New Mexico. Yes. So I had some things right, some things not right.
Yes.
But in case anybody ever said,
there was some info there, it just got kind of crossed. And
that's right. That's what happened.
50-50. It was 50-50.
It was close.
Well,
we'll give you half credit.
Synapses misfire.
That's right.
You know, and you get old.
That's right.
It's those trail mix.
Well,
bro.
and maybe Clyde wrote poetry. You just don't know.
He might have written poetry. That's right.
In his spare time.
But I thought I got to correct him.
Sam does.
I say, Robert Lowell, he was a poet.
Well, we pride ourselves here at the Pod Bay Door on having correct information, may it be Las Vegas or otherwise. So thank you, John. We don't think any less of you.
Oh, that's
we know how old you are.
I think less of me.
That being said, fact checks, comments, suggestions, everything. We'd love to hear from everybody coming in globally. I think I just saw a couple people from Serbia and Croatia, which I thought was interesting. They came in together. It's a
nice.
war-torn area out there, but lots.
What is this guy listening to?
Yeah, lots of global connections we're making. Jason's Mask 90. I've been waiting for Halloween.
For this comment.
I'm holding this
Jason,
one. Jason's Mask 90 commented, "Hello from Canada." Well, hello, and thanks for listening. Love the show, he says. What is the best haunted house in Vegas? Well, Julia was supposed to be here today. Unfortunately, she had to fly back out to North Carolina. But she loves haunted houses.
She would have been the
the authority. Yeah. Absolutely. I used to go with her actually to haunted houses, and I hate them. I do. I hate them because nowadays they can't do what they used to do. It used to be they could touch you.
Well, don't they have to sign a waiver? Don't they still have those where they?
I don't know. Honestly,
I'm
John,
pretty sure you have to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
There's the newest one, the rated R haunted house that just opened in Vegas.
Yes, the Freakling brothers.
There
yes.
you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I came across on the news. I'm like, man, you have to sign an actual waiver for that? That's crazy. Back then, you didn't have to because everything was fine. But in the world of participation trophies, you have to sign up for it now to make sure you're okay.
Everything. Yeah, now you can't. Now you can't touch anybody. You were getting.
You can't touch anybody. Yeah. The top.
Can't touch this.
Can't touch this.
No.
Now the Freakling brothers apparently they have what's called the trilogy of terror, and from what I understand, as you said, one is rated R. We have to sign a waiver, and they can not really touch you. I mean, they'll poke you.
Yeah.
And then they have. I guess it goes from like rated PG to rated R.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on, and it depends on what area of town you're in. But yes. And then there's the Asylum and Hotel of Fear.
Nice.
Neither of which I've been. And the newest kind, which is becoming popular in Vegas in general, is the Escape or Dies, the Apocalyptic Escape Room.
Nice.
Which I thought
totally down for that.
Sounded kind of fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I have not been to a haunted house. I don't know.
What about Fright Dome?
I was going to mention that. Yeah, Fright Dome.
Well, the question was the top.
Oh, okay.
And Fright Dome is.
It's a little lower.
Fright Dome's a little lower.
No.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more. It's also it's a drop off for parents. It's like drop the kid off and go gamble and.
Because Fright Dome is an all-encompassing situation where they try to copy Knox Scary Farm, where everyone's in character and they're all popping out from every corner.
Yeah.
So it's a fun.
A lot of fog machines.
Yeah. A lot of loud sounds. It's fun gimmicky wise, like as an open area, but for haunted houses themselves, those look fun. The only reason I don't go is because of massive line. Like, and there's too many people. It's too busy.
I went one year to Freakling Brothers.
Yes.
It was one of their. It wasn't one of their R-rated ones. I guess it was PG.
No.
It was good. I mean, I could kind of tell where the guys were hiding.
Okay.
And they put me in a group with a couple of high school girls, and they said, you go
so they
first.
were the early warning.
Yeah. This was great. You go first. I thought good. So I go over there and I'd look and I'd make eye contact sometimes with this guy, and I would pretend. It's
not
okay,
to see him,
girls,
like,
come on.
Yeah.
And then, because I wasn't going to
Yeah.
You're not the screaming type.
But now that it is actually Halloween, or this is going to come out on Halloween Day, you can find all this information at on the World Wide Web, VegasHauntedHouses.com, and they give real good descriptions about everything. John and I actually we went to Universal Studios and went to the Walking Dead exhibit, which has actually been closed.
Is that right?
Yeah, they closed the Walking Dead exhibit, and then they moved the Walking Dead people to be involved in the big Universal Studios Halloween special Horror Nights. Yeah, but it's gone. It's going to be gone. But it was not great. I don't think.
No, it was a couple minutes.
Was it just like props and stuff from the show?
No, you walk through. It was a combination of. Well, no, it's actually based on I think one of the opening shows. It was a hospital scene. It was the city scene where Rick was stuck in the tank. Was it a tank?
Atlanta.
Yeah. It was the Atlanta scene plus the hospital and everything else.
And there's like helicopters, right?
Well, they're as a prop.
Yeah,
as a prop. And then there's players. There's a cop that's shooting and it tells you to keep going. And the makeup was fantastic, but it was very short. Very short.
You know, only took a few minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
so if you're looking for a scare, I wouldn't say so. Fright Dome, of course, is at Circus. I think that's great for maybe beginners.
Do you guys know about the one downtown too? The Walking Dead one?
Yeah,
Walking Dead one? Yeah, Fremont Street.
The experience. The Walking Dead experience downtown.
Yeah.
Well, Eli Roth had something at the MGM, remember, for a short time?
Oh, yeah.
The
a few years back.
Yeah, the Hostel. Yeah.
That was a
And
big hit.
Yeah, that was a hit, and then it closed.
Yeah,
And
well,
he tried to do it year round, and
you know, who
It
knows?
never has quite the life.
Yeah,
span that you think.
that's
MGM can't find its groove, I don't think, yet. But again, it's VegasHauntedHouses.com. And if you're listening right now, it's Halloween, so go out and check those out. Cindykins 45 commented, "What is the most haunted hotel in Vegas?" Well, we've actually talked about this briefly at another podcast, but I checked again in the 2017 numbers, and there's actually websites that keep these numbers consistently. Based on reports by the guests, it is still the Westgate Hotel, which is formerly the Las Vegas Hilton, formerly the International. And our most oft repeated visitor, of course, is Mr. Elvis Presley.
yeah.
Right. He used to stay there.
He hasn't left the building.
Still looking for a sandwich.
Looking
Poor
for a
guy.
sandwich.
Poor guy.
They see him in the showroom, which is no longer the showroom he was in. It's a different area. So he's hanging around, not the showroom. They used to say they see him in the green room, which is still a green room.
Okay.
And they see him in the lounge, which portion of it is still the lounge. But yes,
His favorite parts.
His favorite part.
The bar and the
bar
green
and the
room.
bar and the
Wait,
green
but
room.
not the buffet?
No, there was. I don't
Man,
believe there was
he's
a
missing
buffet
out.
in the
That
International.
was
missing out.
Yeah.
Was that Fat Elvis time?
That was no. You know what? He didn't become Fat Elvis until right around the time that the International was turning into the Hilton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was very interesting. There's a great chapter in the book called Gulp by Mary Roach. And it talked about Elvis and how he died. And she had interviewed his doctor, and he had actually died from constipation. And that was really the reason why he was so big. And that his doctor would travel with him and give him up to 7 enemas a day. And he said he had to time the enema for his show.
Right.
But every now and then,
He's like,
and that's
I
why
gotta
he
go
wore
on break.
those jumpsuits, right? Because there's a little more room. He would literally shit his pants on the stage. And and he would go off and come on with a new costume. People thought it was part of the show.
Right.
But shitting his pants really wasn't supposed to be part of the show.
No,
But,
I doubt it.
Yeah.
You know,
It was just that.
Shit happens.
shit happens.
As Forrest
so-
Gump said and made famous.
That's right. You know,
do you
it's-
guys believe in ghosts?
Well, who else are you going to call, bro? Right?
Ghostbusters.
I do for one simple reason that I think I think that people can become truly tortured, and I think there's a lattice work of, people always say, is there a supreme being? I think there's too many things that are unexplained. I think there's a lattice work above us someplace, or in the energy fields. And I think there are some individuals that are so tortured and lost
That they remain.
that they something remains.
They can't cross over.
Yeah, there's an energy that stays. I don't know. I have never experienced anything like that.
See, neither have I. I just don't. I don't buy into that whole
Yeah.
malevolent.
I think
spirit
ghosts and all that, they're metaphors for the past. So you talk about Elvis. There's a really good book was written last year called Haunted Places. And if you look on Amazon, you're going to see some people say, well, they didn't like it mainly because he didn't get into the supernatural explanations or things. Because he looked at this phenomena as a cultural experience, or, as a cultural phenomena. And for example, there was in the Burnside Bridge, I think it was a Burnside Bridge in Portland, there was supposed to be a ghost of a woman who had been murdered, underneath the tracks. Well, as it turned out, she really wasn't murdered there. It was like 2 or 3 blocks away. But it acts as a cautionary tale, don't go out late at night or something like that. We've seen, so I kind of think, when you talk about Elvis, well, they've seen him in the showroom, but it's not the same one he performed in, right? It's just that this is just a metaphor of the past. And yeah, some people, I can understand where if somebody was, if there was an area of trauma or something like that, he didn't die there either. So I guess I still see that as a manifestation of just a memory wishful thinking.
It could be more like a tall tale, or it's just something used to.
Yeah.
For me, I
and we see that also with. There's one you're going to talk about later about the park in Henderson where a little boy got hit by a car. It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
But
right?
You being in Japan, I mean, didn't you see any of the culture out there too? About
they were, they're
very superstitious.
They're very incredibly superstitious. They'll say that they're not religious or we're atheists. Well, but you're really, really superstitious.
Right.
I worked for a time, I taught English lessons for a company called Tokyo Corporation. And Tokyo Corporation was a construction firm, but they owned a department store, and they owned a train line, and they owned a whole string of hotels. And that was my first experience, working in a hotel. And I had the guy there who was a manager, and he told me, he goes, we had, he didn't want to, he was disturbed by this, that they'd had a guy commit suicide in one of the rooms, and they had cleaned it up and everything and rented it out. And then a guest came down, obviously not knowing about that, and complained about seeing a guy in the room who matched the description. Of course, he's a Japanese guy. Hey, he's going to match the description, right? But they're saying, it was just creepy that it was that room. And one of the staff, they said, the housekeeper said she saw it, but she knew about it, so it could have been her imagination.
A hoax, or it's a startling noise, or coincidence.
She was overhyped in her mind.
Yeah.
You psyched yourself out sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll move right to, you had mentioned the boy in the swing. It's time for the Headless Report instead of the Topless Report. Where are they haunting now? I found some.
Well played.
Thank you. I found some interesting ones. They're kind of disturbing, but I didn't want to get we have already mentioned a little bit of hauntings here in Las Vegas, but I wanted to find the truly disturbing ones because I think we have some interesting ones, and they're throughout Nevada, not just Las Vegas. There is a classic urban legend that is the rotting corpse under the hotel bed. And I'll skip to the end. Basically, Las Vegas got pinned with this one, and it never happened. There's actually no report whatsoever that this ever happened.
In
Vegas. But when asked, at the back of the bus, when they started the story, at the front of the bus, it ends up being Las Vegas. Typical sociological experiment. And for some reason, because Vegas has that sort of tainted past, I guess.
Sin City.
Yeah, Sin City, of course. But it actually did happen, and this is what caused it, in Kansas City, Kansas, Pasadena, California, and Atlantic City, New Jersey, all of which were a variation of it, but it had nothing to do with the supernatural. They were either, one committed suicide. How he got under the bed, they don't know. So they and that was in Kansas City. They think that the maid shoved him under the bed so as not to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah. And Pasadena and Atlantic City had to do with a little mobbed up situation. And these were the type of beds that had the box springs that were open in hotels. Back in the day, you used to have the old open box springs, and they were put in the box spring. Gotcha. And of course, the only thing that alerted them to that fact was the smell.
The smell.
Yeah, but the rotting corpse under the hotel bed urban legend absolutely did not happen
I guess
here.
The closest we have, we talked about it before, about the DuPont case where they stuffed the dead body in the air vent in the room. That probably would have come close.
Right. Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all the the suicides and whatnot in town, they're never they're always very public. They're always diving off one thing or another, but did not happen here. John mentioned the haunted swings of Fox Ridge Park. Fox Ridge Park is still here.
Yeah, I looked it up. It's not too far away.
Yeah, not too far away. Henderson, Nevada, from where our studio is. A boy was hit by a car, and it's said he now haunts the Fox Ridge Park. He was hit right near the swing set, and people have reported seeing the swings in use. And of course, no one's there. And then there
during windstorms, I think, probably
windstorms, right? And he's not malevolent. However, when people have also reported seeing the little tyke, and as they approach him, he turns into a demon.
Well, there you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that sounds malevolent.
And then disappears.
I definitely want the audience feedback on this one. Anyone in Vegas listening, because I actually debunked that one. Personally, I went there with a group of friends a while back.
Personally,
and nothing showed up. We waited for an hour.
Are you a ghost hunter fan?
Well, I was curious.
When you're kind of big, you probably scared them all away.
Oh, probably. It's kind of like fishing. You gotta be really quiet.
I had mentioned that book, Haunted Places, and in that book, the author went all over the U.S. He said the place that the one incident where he thought there just might be something to it was actually the Mustang Ranch.
Yes.
And yes, that there was a spirit there of, I forgot what it was, but he saw some video or something, they'd written a name or something on. But look it up in that book.
Mustang Ranch, the popular brothel here in Nevada.
In northern Nevada.
Yeah,
he said that was the closest he came to thinking
that there was some sort of
there
spirit.
might be something to that
Maybe.
one. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, he heard ho. They thought it said ghost. And
yeah. Isn't there supposed to be Boulder City Hotel? Isn't there supposed to be?
Well, you said he was there for research?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Sure.
good.
Sure.
Yes, there is a Boulder City Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be haunted as well or something.
There's one coming up that was in Tonopah, which I wouldn't step foot in this place.
I had a brother that lived in Tonopah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll call him up, see if he's ever been there.
You should. Yeah, you should. That's coming up. Tonopah one is creepy. I don't want to go there ever. Not Tonopah, the hotel there. The Water Babies of Pyramid Lake. This one is very disturbing, and the people listening, I don't know if they're going to be squeamish or touchy, but I just thought this one was truly a scary ghost story.
Well, we already warned them it's a Halloween episode,
That's
so
right.
they'll be okay.
It's Halloween, actually.
Enjoy it.
The indigenous Paiute Indians that are here, and the Paiute Reservation is here, also sponsoring a golf course, which is typical Vegas, threw premature or deformed babies into Pyramid Lake in order to keep their tribe strong. Of course, this was in...
sounds like Sparta.
Back in the history, yes. The spirits of these infants are said to be angry at being cast aside and now haunt the lake.
I suppose.
And come around only in spring. But they do, anybody that dares to approach the lake during this time and disturbs them are dragged immediately into the lake. Which, of course, anybody that drowns in Pyramid Lake is attributed to the water babies.
To the babies.
Yeah.
Where's Pyramid Lake at?
Pyramid Lake is it's on the Paiute Reservation, which is John. It's
kind of middle of Nevada.
Oh yeah, it's
45 minutes from where we're sitting.
Yes, yeah, because I remember I've been out in that area when I lived in Summerlin, so it's just north.
Yeah.
Okay, so not too
far. So when are we going?
Far.
We should do a podcast from there.
Check it out.
Do a podcast from the lake.
From a canoe. Let's get in the canoe and.
We'll put a that's right. We'll put a lav mic on you, Sam, and you'll be all right.
Who's the best swimmer? We'll just
not me. That's for sure.
No, I'm not going. In fact, several things we've discussed, I'm not going.
Creepy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Like I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm not testing any theories either.
So ghosts or the VR experience, $50. Which one are you?
Let's go kill some fake zombies.
That's right. Well, Adam normally does the nerd alert, so I'm going to do it this time. But I'm going to leave it to you guys to answer first to all these questions.
Perfect.
Sam thought of some great questions for our Halloween special. It's Halloween. Where are you guys going? What are you doing for
Halloween day? I'm going to a house party. Nice little Halloween house party.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I have nothing planned yet.
No? You've done costumes. You did.
We do costumes.
You did Casey.
I did Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
That was really nice, by the way. That mask was amazing.
Casey Jones of Turtle fame.
I haven't really had a chance to get into a costume this year.
No.
But we'll see. There's still a couple days.
Now, costume party's still popular?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I wonder what the big costume is supposed to be this year. Do you know?
Trump. It's got to be
I
Trump.
think
Gosh,
It's got to be Trump.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
I'd rather see Wonder Woman than Trump any day.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a better view.
Did y'all see the Trump video where he was talking to the little kids about
Oh,
Halloween?
no.
I did.
Oh, my God.
I did.
There's like not one good thing that man said in that entire interview.
No.
It's terrible.
For our listeners, you want to see a real monster, just watch that video.
Seriously.
Yeah, John, I don't think you should watch anything that Trump says because it would just devastate you.
It would hurt you, sir. It would hurt you.
Yeah, it's not good for my blood pressure.
Soul destroying.
Yeah.
His English is really bad.
Yeah,
Really
regardless
bad
of his political leanings one way or another, his grammar, his syntax, and context are terrible. This is amazing.
I never thought I would live, hearing George Bush speak, as compared to Trump.
His job was just to give out candy. His job was just to give out candy. And he even ruined that. How do you mess up giving out candy? Like, here, you hand the candy, you put it in the basket, you're done. You're done.
So no huge plans. No naked Halloween.
No
bobbing for apples.
Topless
nothing,
monsters.
Nothing, okay.
I don't
Topless
know.
monsters. Nothing.
I don't know yet.
I gotta call up my friends, I guess.
I was getting my my haircut, and a young lady asked me, about where was I going. I said nowhere. I turned the lights off, locked the gates. My poor dog Max, he just the Halloween and 4th of July, he just wants to die. He right under the bed. But I said nothing, and then she said, made mention of a costume party. In my memory, I've never attended a costume party ever. For any reason, Halloween or otherwise. I've never worn a costume.
On a side note, they also
As
have
an
the Fetish and Fantasy Ball.
Yes.
I believe it's South Point.
South Point.
It's kind of like the adult R-rated party.
Yes. Lots of leather and lace.
Yeah.
A lot of masquerades.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool little masquerade ball.
Yeah.
It's worth going one time.
Yeah.
I went to a party like that in San Francisco back in the 80s. And I remember...
Why was Jamie laughing?
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Lord.
I think it was the 80s. Might even been the late 70s. But what I remember was there was a guy who showed up. Now you have to remember this was San Francisco.
Right.
So about 2/3 of the people there were gay men, either in drag or something like that. This guy wasn't in drag because he was buck naked.
Yeah.
With one exception. He had black electrician's tape wrapped around his cock and balls.
Nice.
Walking around like that. And all I thought of was like, holy shit, it's October 31st. Isn't this guy cold? He's just walking around buck naked in this party. So I did that, and then I went to one other party. And I still have my own personal record where I drank 22 bottles of beer.
On the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was aiming for that. I disclaimer, there were only 10-ounce bottles.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And it was Michelob, and I was going for the whole case.
Hey,
and
it still counts.
And
That's a lot of fluid for a little guy. I know how it is.
I woke up on the floor, and there was just 2 bottles left.
John, if we ever discover time travel, when we finally are able to get through that wormhole on the other side, I want to go back and party with you, buddy.
I dressed as Alice Cooper at that party, I remember, because it was easy.
Nice.
I had the long hair already.
Yeah.
Black and white, easy did.
Well, Alice Cooper and Wilson, it's all the same costume. Okay, now, like as I said, Sam thought of some great questions for Halloween theme. And number 1, Adam, what are your top 3? Did you write these down?
Well, I have a few.
Top 3. Well, I put top 3, but you're not limited.
Yeah.
Top 3 horror films, and why?
So I kind of limited it down, to less sci-fi and comedy horror to more like straight up frightening horror.
Yes.
So my list, and because earlier I said I didn't really believe in ghosts and goblins and whatnot.
Right.
So the top one for me is arachnophobia, because spiders that can kill you in one bite for me scared the crap out of me when I was like this tall. so that's number 1 for me.
Yes.
Number 2, The Shining, Jack Nicholson. Just super creepy. The direction of that movie and the mood is just
the woman in the bathtub? Or coming out of the bath?
The 2 kids
twins.
in the hallway. The whole thing creeped me out as a kid. And then number 3, Alien, the first one.
Yes.
That was more, psychological thriller. You never really saw the alien till the end.
Yeah, that was really a haunted house movie in outer space.
Tight corridors, nowhere for them to run.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're stuck in space.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's my 3. Honorable mention, though, Beetlejuice. Back in the day, and
nice.
28 Days Later.
Fast Zombies.
Yeah,
Fast Zombies sucks.
Zombies.
Yeah.
So that's my list.
I agree.
Yeah.
Nicely done. Shining is just silly now.
Is it?
It bothers me.
I haven't watched it in a few years, but
and
definitely some creepy parts. You know, in a just giant hotel with endless hallways and rooms that you never know.
Yeah,
Creepy,
I saw an interview
creepy.
with Jack Nicholson recently, and he was I think it was a Terms of Endearment reunion, photo shoot or something like that. Yeah. And they asked him about Shining. He said, I thought for sure he was going to hate it. Like, I wish I didn't do it. And John should understand this. He said, I have no recollection of doing it at all. He said, I don't remember what I did and why and when. He said it was just a blur. That's just hysterical.
Yeah. Hysterical. It was either the times or him being so into that crazy psycho role that
As it turned out, I think Shelley Duvall, who played the wife, I think in real life, she went batshit. I read something recently and I thought, wow, she
Well, I know there were reports of that when she played Olive Oil with Robin Williams in Popeye, which was a strange enough film as it was. But yeah, I absolutely. And I remember, there's a lot of people that done that. Aunt B, the actress from
Mayberry.
Mayberry, yeah. She never stopped being Aunt B.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
she died being Aunt B. But John, what are yours?
Okay, well, I have a couple lists here because I'm old, so I go back a ways. I have my old ones, my old time favorites, which are going to be old. Number one for me, I saw it in the movie theater. It's the only movie that really scared.
Don't say Nosferatu.
No, wasn't that. I'm not that old.
Way back.
That really scared me at that time was The Exorcist.
Oh, really?
1973. Yes,
Her
that
head
was.
turning around.
Yes, the head turning around and everything.
But
That
the
one
suit.
there,
The pea soup.
and it was just so atmospheric, and it was big budget. Most of the
Yes, it was.
most of the horror movies were they were kind of cheesy.
Yeah, cheesy.
They didn't really have very much in the way of special effects. So that was that one
That's
there. I
low
found really
production cost.
disturbing.
Yeah.
But a very close second. They kind of go back and forth with me. Is Rosemary's Baby. The
Okay.
Roman Polanski film.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
there's
Okay.
not a lot of jump scares in that,
Yeah.
but it just
more of a
it's
psychological.
more psychological.
Right.
Third would be which would be more of a horror movie.
Yes.
Night of the Living Dead, the original one.
Okay.
George A. Romero
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
directed that. I would put that. Then I started thinking, well, I also look at a lot of foreign horror movies. I like those too.
Right.
So I had a list of those. I like Let the Right One In. It's Swedish.
Okay. Vampire movie.
There's also a novel, very, very good, same title. They did an American version. They did
That's
a good
not as
job
good.
on it.
Yeah,
which
I
was
like
not
the
quite as
original
good.
a
Yes,
lot. Yeah.
which was just Let Me In.
Yes.
I have that. Good Night, Mommy. That is
Oh,
an
yes.
Austrian movie. Now, when I saw it, it reminded me of another film of the other, but it didn't spoil. Like I said, I can see where the end is coming here. Really, really good. That was another.
Well, I think the foreign films, if the foreign filmmakers enter into the genre of horror, it automatically gives it a tick up as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as the creepiness, because the
Different way of thinking.
the strange way of
yes,
thinking. Yes.
Yes. I also have. It's still English language, but foreign is the Australian film The Babadook.
Oh yes.
I saw
was-
a couple
that's
of
just
mentions of that.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
it's
It's currently on Netflix,
good.
or at least
Yeah.
a version of it.
It's recent.
Yeah.
Yes,
Couple
that's
years old,
recent.
right?
Just
Yeah.
like last year before. Ringu, the original Japanese
Yes.
of The Ring,
Yeah.
is very good. And then there's a Thai movie called. The English title is Shutter. Have you
Okay.
seen that?
The one with the camera.
The one with the camera.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I would put that on there as being
Now, has
very
has
effective.
Rings come out? Is it already out?
I think
Yeah,
you
they-
know.
Oh, the new US one?
Yeah, Rings plural.
I don't think it's out.
No,
yet.
I just saw
I
it.
think
It was
so,
a quick
I
trailer.
saw that quick trailer.
Yeah.
But I remember I was reading the article. They did a crossover where it's the ring spirit versus something else.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh man, the crossover from crap.
Crossover film or game?
It's a
Yeah, it was-
crossover
it was
movie
two
in
horror-
Japan.
Two horror
Yeah.
films.
Two
that were
horror
combined.
icons in Japan.
Yeah, I forgot
They
what it
crossed
was,
it
though.
together and it didn't work out too well in the box office.
Oh.
Yeah, they tried it. It didn't work out too well.
Can't remember what the other one was.
Right? It was
was
the
like-
girl with the long hair and then that kid,
Oh yeah.
the scary kid from what was it Japanese horror? Oh my gosh.
We'll think of
You'll
it in a
think of
minute.
it.
Yeah,
We'll think
we'll think of it later. Sorry, guys.
So, well, thanks, John. Those are great.
Dang it. I
And
know.
and what how about you, Sam? What do you think?
My first one on very top is gonna be Jaws, just because as a kid, I had a fear of swimming, because like wherever
Yeah,
I go,
I still don't like deep water.
yeah, I don't like deep water at all. But like my fear stems that far. Like live in Florida,
Yeah.
there's just open oceans everywhere.
Yeah.
So every time I go on a boat, I'm like, I don't want to end up in Jaws situation, as a kid. But Jaws really got to me as a kid with the music, the intenseness,
I
and
hear you with that.
everything.
I almost put that on my list.
Man, it was like right there. And then
So no open. You don't want to see open water.
not a big fan.
What's the new one? 47 meters.
Oh, 47 meters. Yeah, oh, jeez.
Open Water, though, the movie is probably one of the worst movies of all time.
It
Oh,
looked
yeah.
pretty bad in trailers. I
Yeah.
avoid it. My number 2 would have to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great-
That blew my mind as
Yes.
a little kid watching. I was
Yeah.
like, what the hell's going on here? What
Yeah.
happened to all these
That's right.
people? Like visually, it was just, it awed me because, I was amazed by it,
Yeah.
but horrified at the same time.
Yeah.
And then number 3,
The Thing
Oh.
game coming out this Christmas, by
yes,
the way.
yes,
A
I'm excited
game?
for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't know who to trust, or
It's
It's a board game.
It's a board game.
Yeah.
And much like the Walking Dead board game is now.
Co-op.
Yeah, co-op. It's a cooperative game.
Nice.
You
You
against
play
the
against the board game.
against the board game. Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
So I forget what's
Check
going
that
on.
out.
Yep, looks really good. And then I remember another frightening one was I was raised on the heydays of Freddy Krueger.
Nice.
So Nightmare on Elm Street and all that. But the one scene that sticks out in my mind still to this day from when I was a kid was the scene where he took the Q-tip and shoved it through the guy's head, came out the other side. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done with Q-tips for a while.
I'm freaking out, man. Yeah, I can't. I can't
So almost all the movies that were mentioned here are really old ones. I mean, old. You know,
They
from
Yeah.
the
do not
80s,
make horror
90s.
movies like they used to.
No, I think it's just egregious violence and unnecessary
a lot
gore
like Saw
nowadays.
or
Saw.
Like
Yeah, that kind of
the
stuff
newer
they put out.
generation horror movies I did enjoy were definitely the 28 days, 28
What-
Yeah, that's right.
week
Did
wonders.
anybody see Get Out?
Yes, I saw
that.
that.
Yeah.
That was
On a
good.
lot of
Yes.
lists.
Yes,
That was pretty
good.
good.
I
That
didn't
was
see that
good.
one.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yes. Last
Did
House
you
on the
take
Left.
on that?
It follows. It follows is good.
Last
I
House on
still
the Left
think-
is pretty good too.
Last House on the Left, Sixth Sense. I mean, that goes back 90s.
Sixth Sense.
That was
yeah.
well
So
done.
Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Not The Village though. I'm still mad about The Village.
No, me too. I'm still
No,
fucking
you
mad.
know, I respect him as a filmmaker, but for me, it's an hour and 58 minutes of
Just
snore.
fast forward to the,
Yeah,
to
and
the
then,
twist.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't see that
Yeah, he
coming.
did a good one last year about with the kids visiting
Split?
the grandparents.
Oh, that's a different one.
I forgot the title of it right now, but because it just occurred to me. But that's good. That one
Yeah.
was worth seeing.
Split. McAvoy made that film.
Man,
That was fantastic.
I have to-
McAvoy
I
was
still have to watch that
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
This is
Yeah.
the same universe as Unbreakable, correct?
It is.
Yes.
In fact,
Like-
the third one's coming out
Nice.
next season.
Just to see McAvoy play all these characters in the transition is flawless.
Yeah,
It
He's
is
crazy, and he's not method. I mean, he just enjoys the
went
shit
with
out
that,
of doing
huh?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my turn.
Yes, sir. Tell us.
Mine
Nope.
are kind of old too. Actually, I have two honorable mentions. Seven. I thought
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's good.
Seven was
What's in the
fantastic.
box? What's in the
The
box?
Head in the Box movie.
What's in the box? I thought that was fantastic. It was just so the dirty city, scape that they used. It was
gonna say
fantastic.
the sets
Plus the
were
cast.
really
Yeah,
Plus
yeah.
the
The
cast
cast was
too.
great, yeah.
Spacey.
Yeah.
Oh.
Morgan Freeman, I can take him or leave him. I mean, his voice is just still amazing, but he was good as that
Kind of dopey detective side role.
the cop that should have retired 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, the
he'd
retired
seen too
cop.
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
And you're gonna laugh. Both versions, the old and new of Nosferatu, was the creepiest movie I've ever seen in my life. I can't watch the old one.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. I
And
don't
then
like
there's-
it.
And then Werner
And then-
Herzog's.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe played the Nosferatu and
Yeah.
the newer one.
Interesting.
Just awful. Just the creepiest thing. I to this day, if it comes on, I can't. Just awful. Now this one is the third one, and it's more of a comedy, but I thought it was one of the best, sort of horror Halloween things. And John will remember these folks: Don Knotts, Tim Conway, in The Private Eyes. Where they were trying to solve a murder in this haunted house. It's absolutely hysterical to this day for me. If you ever, it's called The Private Eyes. They actually did another film together called The Prize Fighter about boxing, but catch it. It's really funny. And if you like just old, kind of fun, campy stuff, it's great. My honorable mentions, the Evil Dead series, including Army of
Oh,
Darkness.
yeah, that's good. I forgot
Yeah.
about those.
Did you ever see the newer Evil Dead?
I saw you mean the show?
The remake of
The movie.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't.
It was very gory.
It was very gory. It wasn't
Yeah.
that bad. It
Yeah.
wasn't that
It was
bad at
good,
all.
but it's like
Yeah.
you said earlier. It's like a lot of just gore and shock.
It's just
and-
it's not creative. It's just they're cutting the heads off for that reason. And lastly, again, John Carpenter, Prince of Darkness.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Great film, and it's one of the first films to actually have post-credit stuff. And you got to watch it all the way to the end because it has to do with the bringing of Satan into the world. And John Carpenter, of course, he did all the
Gosh,
music.
anything
and
John Carpenter's.
He's
Yeah.
performing here locally.
Yeah,
You know
indeed.
that he's
That's
performing at
right.
Vinyl, which is a music
yeah?
venue where
That's
he's
okay. It's a
because
small
he
little
composed all his own music for the movies.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And that's what he's performing.
Yeah, and not a young man.
No,
he's old like you, John.
Yeah, he's even older.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he older than you?
Oh, he looks a lot older too.
Well, it's
So,
the hair.
Yeah.
He's got Ozzy's hair.
I do have some trivia about the movie Seven,
Yes.
and when they first, I'm not sure the term, they pilot it. They show a test audience. It came back. It bombed because people were expecting Brad Pitt not to be in that kind of role, so they went in expecting something else, and then they thought that ending was much too dark, and they really considered cutting it out. And someone says, you can't take the Head in the Box movie. You can't take the Head in the Box
that
scene
makes
out of the
the
Head in the
movie,
Box
right?
movie.
Of course, yeah.
It's the Head in the Box
That's
movie.
the moment they're going to
Exactly.
remember.
That's right.
Well, I think they nailed it just talking about the 7 deadly sins. And you got it. I mean, just
You got a sense of each sin and
Yeah.
those sets. You
Yeah.
know, each
Yeah.
one of them was different, and
the
creepy.
the
and-
effects itself was amazing.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie. I was gonna mention another fun Halloween movie for me that I watch every year during Halloween. It's a horror comedy combo, which is Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
gotta mention
so
that.
funny.
absolutely
It's
fantastic.
so brilliant,
Yeah.
so brilliant.
Simon Pegg.
Also, there's
There's
the
tons of
Changeling.
zombie movies
Did you ever
that-
see the Changeling?
Zombieland?
Not the one with not the one with Angelina Jolie, but George Scott. 1980.
Scott, yeah.
It's a great haunted house movie.
Yeah, the
I haven't
Changeling.
seen it.
The
Oh yeah,
Changeling.
Good.
very
Yes.
creepy. Very
That's a
creepy.
creepy one.
Oh yeah, 7 deadly sins and the people never talk about the cardinal virtues.
Yeah.
I can't name them. I can't name
I
the
only know
cardinal
the
virtues.
sins.
Yeah.
I
okay.
only worked on Master.
Do we do an honorable mention to was it the House on Haunted Hill, the old one? I saw that one. That
I've
was
never
good.
seen that
There's a
one.
remake too on that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
was-
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts.
Anybody like that
That's
one?
pretty cheesy.
It was okay.
All the ghosts gotta wear the glasses to see them. That's hilarious.
The zombie booby chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Yeah, that's the one thing I remember.
Also,
surprised
check
nobody
out the
said,
Invitation. Have you seen that?
No.
It's maybe I watch it on Netflix. You can stream it. That's really good. It
Yeah.
came out recently, like last year before.
Well, it's Halloween right
Definitely
now,
check it
folks.
out.
So if you're listening,
The
start
Invitation.
getting your Netflix
get a
list
list.
going there.
The Audition.
The,
I saw
right?
that one. That's
Oh,
great.
the
not
Audition.
bad.
was
Very
good.
creepy.
That was
Not bad.
creepy.
All right, horror games. Sam,
Yes.
what do you got?
Well, the
Or now, when you said games, I did video.
video games.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, that works. For me, I have a small little list, but definitely on my top is definitely the Resident Evil series and Silent Hill for sure.
Oh, that's too easy, Sam.
Oh no, because like when you play Resident Evil, I remember as a kid, like I have to try and find all the ink ribbons just to be able to save in the actual game itself. You're like, no, I'm out of bullets. What do I do now? You know.
So the first game was very resource heavy, so you only had like 5 bullets, and you could only heal yourself one time.
and there's
for,
like
a
8
whole
dogs
stretch of
coming
the
at
game.
you right now. Good
And
luck.
In order to save the game, you had to have ink ribbons so that you could type it into the typewriter, right?
Did
Well,
they
you
have
didn't
God? Did they have God mode back in the day? Back in that day?
They had like Game Genie.
Okay.
You know, where you put
Yeah,
in
but
code.
there's really no code for the Capcoms
Okay.
back in the day.
All right.
Like Capcom was a company back then where like if you're shit out of luck, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Pretty much. You have to restart all over again or try to find a good
lot
save
of trial
point.
and error at that point.
Oh, definitely. Those were the beginning heydays.
Yeah.
And then Silent Hill was visually stunning, and like the sound of it too was just, it's right in there. Like you have to go around the city or a small room, and you have a flashlight that only has a certain amount of battery life. And then it's with Silent Hill, it's a series more of a hiding situation where you have limited resources, but you also have to be strategic and hide.
Yeah, you're not trying to get in fights in that one.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're trying to avoid as much.
I remember the first time I played the first Silent Hill, I rented it, and Hal and I played this game at like midnight with no lights on. no get the
Perfect.
food, right?
Perfect.
And in the game, you kind of go between the real world and this demonic world, right? And in the demonic world, you can't see anything in front of you. Everything is like, misty or so. So whenever something jumps at you, it is really like frightening in this game.
Yeah, it is up in your face.
So at midnight with no lights on, with the sound up, this game is fucking scary.
Yes, yes.
Especially to a kid at that point.
Oh, definitely.
So I agree with you. Like Silent Hill was one of my favorite horror movie or horror games.
How about you, John? Do you play? Did you have a list for this one?
No, I only had Doom. It's the only game I played.
Doom, yeah.
I had that on the list as one of the first real iconic
Yeah.
horror games.
Pretty much, yeah.
The newer genre ones that are pretty good too are the Dead Space series.
I was going to mention that too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that studio just closed, but Dead Space was a really kind of cool sci-fi shooter. You kind of go through these desolate spacecrafts, and they got all kinds of zombie aliens.
Right.
jumping at
Even
you.
though it looked open area, you're still in a tight space because you have limited weapons, and these people are infected with a virus, and they're coming at you like full speed. And you're trying to backtrack, and you're like, oh wait, I can't backtrack. There's something else coming behind me too. So you're being overwhelmed. And then the newer Doom they just released like 2 years ago. That one's a really good one too.
3, right? Was that 3?
It's just called Doom.
Yeah, it's just
It's
kind of
called
a
Doom.
straight up remake of
Yeah.
the series.
All right.
I
Adam, what do you got?
I wanted to say The Last of Us was a
Yes,
recent game.
that's a good series.
Kind of post-apocalyptic, but it also had they were zombie-ish
They were infected with like a mushroom virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
John, you know that one.
Yeah, I know that one. I think I'm in that game.
In real life, there's this spore that can attach itself to like a rat
Yeah.
and take
Yeah.
over its brain and kind of maneuver it. So they went the next step further in this game and made it, so
Yeah.
it attacked humans and it
Yeah.
became zombies. They took over by this kind of
Alright.
mushroom head thing.
Sounds like the problem of the Republican Party.
But the game was great. The storyline was top of the line. It was a recent game.
Yeah.
Check it out. The Last
Alright.
of Us.
Well,
yeah.
I've got some old ones. I had to go way back, sort of way back, because
You're getting old.
I'm getting old.
Are you including Oregon Trail?
No,
Okay.
no, that's funny. I played that, and I always lost.
I was on it.
I got diseased
Yeah.
every time. I was
Yeah.
like, and I ran out of wheat. There was an old PC game called Blood. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, it was way ahead of its time. You were in the underworld trying to rescue someone and retrieve her and get out. Penelope, I think her name was Penelope, and it was way ahead of its time in many respects. Graphics, it was a computer killer. I mean, back in the day when you were
Was
on
this
your,
like an MS-DOS game?
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
DOS game.
Yeah, yeah.
DOS
Oh,
game.
nice.
Yeah, and I was playing it on the IBM PS2, which I thought was strange considering that the PlayStation now, but it was called an IBM PS2, and it was around the same time that Dungeons and Dragons and Ozzy Osbourne and the computer games were contributing to the children going
Delinquency.
crazy.
Delinquency,
Yes,
yeah.
and of course that's just nonsense. But oh yeah, I mean you would cut people's
it's
heads
super
off
dark.
and zombies. And it's super dark.
Yeah.
But it was a PC game, and then a game called Dead by Daylight. You guys
Sounds
remember
familiar.
that? Yeah. And again, you have this you're trying to get through this zombie apocalypse situation because you have the virus and you're trying to get to the cure and you'll be dead by daylight. And then another one, I think this is the newest one.
Oh wait, that's an old school game.
Old school. Oh yeah.
That's weird because there's a new one called Dead by Daylight also.
Oh, this is a new one? Maybe
Yeah.
I played one of the originals. I don't know.
Might have been a remake then,
Yeah.
possibly.
Well, I thought it was in like 08, back in not way back, but I mean back in 08. Still
Okay.
9 years ago. And then another one, which I think is relatively new, Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the series?
Yeah,
Okay.
Bloodborne. I find that kind of fun. You know, it was a
It's
little basic, but it was pretty fun.
It's like a Dark Souls spin-off, I think.
Is it? Okay, I don't know
Sam.
that one. Okay.
Dark
Yeah.
Souls.
Dark Soul. Okay. All right, well, great. Now, Sam was tasked to go to the movies, and he didn't go.
No, I didn't get a chance
The
to.
fuck, Sam?
Which
know.
one? Suburbicon?
I know, man.
And
I
we
got
didn't get to that
terrible
one.
reviews.
I'm kidding.
I don't
Now,
know
did
if
you Sam?
man,
Sam?
damn it.
Sam promised me that by text. I don't know if can you take a text as a promise?
They would at the poker
guess.
table.
You think so?
Sure.
He promised me to watch Stranger Things, the first couple of
Yeah,
episodes.
I watched the first 2 episodes.
And how was it?
It's amazing so far.
Is it nice?
It
Amazing.
picks up. It picks up right where it left off.
Now they released all the episodes.
Yeah,
They released the whole thing.
It's all ready to go.
Okay.
But so far, the 2 episodes that I've watched, there's a good callback to 80s. A lot of honorable mentions in there.
Yeah.
They go back to what occurred last season. But so far, they wrote in this new asshole character, and it's played by the Red Ranger from the newer movie. And he's a classic 80s bully where he has the long mullet hair, drives the fast car, listens to rock music, and of course has a little sister. But we don't know his full story
Perfect
yet. But
typecast.
yeah, but so far we know that he's a jerk. So I mean, mentioning this during the Halloween episode, so you guys only watch the first 2.
Okay.
So I'll let you know more once we get into it. But it was really cool so far. The first 2 episodes I've seen because I guess the best way to explain it is the kid that survived the first season, the whole trauma, he's having a hard time coping in the real world because he's phasing in and out the whole time. Poor guy. He's having panic attacks, but they're on like a massive
It's a
scale.
Silent
level.
Hill situation.
Yes, definitely. And then the funny part so far is all 4 boys were dressed up as Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
but they realized the whole school didn't dress up this year.
Nobody dressed up with them.
wow.
Jeez. Nobody's nerdy enough, man.
So they do kind of recap what happened in your.
Oh, definitely.
Because
Definitely.
I would think that for those of us who watch the show who are old enough to actually remember the 80s,
Yeah.
we're not going to remember what happened in season 1. all I want to know is what happens to the fat chick.
Okay.
She died early on.
Yeah, she died,
tripped.
and then nobody cared in the
Yeah.
last one. I thought, well, fuck you, dude. She was your best friend,
Right.
right? The high school
That's
girl.
funny.
Oh no, they talk about her too. it's a real strong hinder on the relationship for the girl and her boyfriend.
Yeah,
the Barb situation.
The douchebag boyfriend, right?
Yeah, the douchebag guy.
I didn't like him at all.
But that's what I'm saying. He did a good job. Like he
acted it well enough for me to hate him.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, we'll keep on Stranger Things. And then what's coming out? What are you guys gonna go see and review? What's coming out soon?
Oh, Thor next week.
Thor.
Already out in the UK. I just read an article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear it's getting good reviews.
And the big
my friend Jose's written it off completely already.
Why? What? Written it off like he's not going to see it?
No, he's going to see it, but he like grumbled and complained the whole time about,
it's being short.
It's like a mini series.
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what he doesn't like about it, but he's already written it off.
No, it'll be fine.
Explain to me, Sam.
It's a little. It's a little.
No, I think it's going to be awesome.
It has shades of Guardians as far as the filmmaking and the sound and whatnot. And I also know it's already out in the UK. They had their premiere. And everybody, anybody that knows cartoons, anybody knows the comic books, especially back in the old days when you used to actually read them with a book, the character Beta Ray Bill that is seen in a tower apparently. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see that because that's one of the characters. I haven't seen that name in 15 years.
He only really comes back in the comics when Thor becomes unworthy and loses his hammer.
Yeah.
Beta Ray Bill actually got his hammer from Thor.
Yeah.
So there's a point in the comics where they come together and they kind of, decide.
But also, Beta Ray does show up in the series World War Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up there as one of the contenders to fight against the Hulk, and the Hulk like smashes into pieces.
Convenient that they're putting those two together.
The hell?
Something about Thor, right?
I guess. I don't know. Siri's listening to our conversation.
Siri's listening to this conversation.
I'm sorry, our conversation listened by the FBI now. We're busted.
That's right. NSA. We're nailed.
I had a weird Siri encounter last week. I had my iPad. Now it was closed.
Mm-hmm.
It was asleep, and it was sitting in the corner. And I said something, and Siri said, out of the blue here, said, "John, your language."
What?
Like that, like an
funny.
admonition. And I opened it up because you know how it is. It types out what it thought it said. And according to Siri, what I said was, Siri, you're a federal bitch.
Wow.
What?
Your language.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Just out of nowhere, huh?
Yeah, and it is like
creepy.
what I said wasn't like ditch or hitch or anything that sounded remotely like you're a federal bitch.
Now I'm listening to. I have an Echo, a full Echo, and then an Echo Dot, and many times, we'll be watching TV and we'll hear, I don't know the answer to that. And it's kind of at first it creeps you out, and I pray to God it never happens when I'm in bed not listening to anything. But our whole we're absolutely
it is getting
NSA
creepy.
Robots are everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, no, it is true because when we play Crucible on Destiny 2, like when I yell and I'm angry and shit, like sometimes Siri be like, "What was that? What did you say? I can't find it." I'm like, "What the fuck?
Who's talking to me?"
Yeah.
All right, now here's the important one. This is the big question Sam got right. The worst and best Halloween candy. I'm going to go first on this one.
Yes.
It's so easy.
Is it?
Yeah, so
really?
easy.
Are we all going to end up arguing with each other? Or
I don't know.
There's a right and wrong answer,
Now
right?
I've got two favorite and two the worst.
Okay.
My favorites are, and this is the one you're going to argue. I love candy corn.
Oh, yeah?
I really love
the
candy
worst
corn.
person in the
Oh,
world.
yeah. I like candy corn.
And this is the one I'm going to go with the rest of the world, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a good one.
The worst, Good and Plenty, and those
I agree with you there.
disgusting, chalky, marshmallow orange peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Those are awful.
Yeah.
And they're just
Worse
disgusting.
than candy corn?
No, candy corn's wonderful.
That's gross.
Candy corn rocks, bro.
No,
That's right.
candy
And
corn's
you
on
gotta,
my worst list, bro.
yeah, you eat the little white part off the
By
top.
the way-
and then,
by the way,
They all
this
taste
guy-
like dirt to me.
This guy hates Twizzlers and Red Vines.
No, dude, red vines are awesome.
Then why do you hate Twizzlers?
Twizzlers are gross
I don't,
as hell.
Bro,
I don't like any
they're the same family.
It's like
licorice.
classic, bro.
You like-
Sweet tarts are another one that didn't do anything for me.
oh yeah.
What about the Smarties? Those rolls of Smarties you get?
Dude, that's like
No,
like somewhere in the bottom half of the.
Okay. What's your top two then?
No, I'm going last because I got
You're going last?
statistics right
Alright.
here.
Okay.
I got a little study.
Hit it,
to-
Sam.
Sorry, fancy man.
Hit it, Sam.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with the two that I don't enjoy. First one is Tootsie Rolls. Like
Yeah.
that's the bottom of my stash.
I like 'em.
Yeah, they tend
like
to be like at the end of
Yeah.
like, once you've gone through everything.
When I sort
right?
my candy,
Yeah.
I take my Tootsie Roll and I start chewing them out first. That's the first thing that gets straight
Now-
out.
Like, I'll give you
now,
5 Tootsie Rolls for
fresh
for-
ones. Fresh ones, not the
I
ones
won't
that are
argue.
like bazooka
No,
joke
this
gum.
Fresh ones I'm fine with.
They're not bad.
But when I get those Tootsie Rolls that are hard as a rock,
Yeah.
fuck that. You're out of my league.
That's
I
right.
hear you. Yeah.
And then
Looks like a dog.
I
turd.
love hate is dots.
My love hate.
Because they,
Yeah, they stick to your teeth, bro.
They stick to your teeth so much.
Can
You
you
can't enjoy the candy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Don't
dots
like 'em.
up there.
What do you think,
That's a
John?
love-hate
Or no, what are
relationship.
the worst? What are the worst?
Those are my worst.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the ones I like are definitely the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yep.
Because Halloween edition ones now they have just a little more peanut butter than the regular ones do. You know.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then another favorite of mine would have to be Laffy Taffies. I enjoy those.
God, I haven't seen that in
Okay.
ever.
Many
Oh,
flavors. Many flavors.
Oh,
Many
yeah.
flavors.
It's a good assortment for sure.
John.
Well, it
What do
would
you
be
think?
it'd be Milky Way. I mean, and Three Musketeers, something like
Okay.
that.
All right.
Okay.
The ones I didn't like were anything that was like those red tamales.
Hot
Remember
tamales.
those hot
Oh,
tamales?
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Things
I don't
were-
know
Yeah.
who gives those out.
Yeah, and those peanuts, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Those are
You
disgusting.
might as well just eat a piece
Now
of
I
chocolate.
have a Halloween story for you. When I was in high school, I had a girlfriend, and she came from a well-to-do family, and they lived in Hillsboro. Now that's where the Hearsts live in Hillsboro. It's Bay Area rich people, and she had lived there, and Bing Crosby lived in that area as well.
No way.
He was a notorious cheapskate. So I'm going to say this.
He didn't give out the
What?
king size.
Oh,
He didn't give out the good stuff? Bing?
Oh yeah, so here's what she told me. When she was a kid, they go to Bing Crosby's house, right? You ring on the
face
gate.
right now.
Of course, Bing Crosby's not going to come to the door. They're going to come with the servant or the cook
Yeah.
or whatever it was. Well, in the front of Bing Crosby's house was a great big walnut tree. For Halloween, they gave out walnuts off the driveway that fell there. Just pick them up, scoop them up, throw them in the kid's basket. Here you go,
Nice.
you little bastard. Go on. with it. Yeah.
That's like something Jamie would do.
Now,
Nah,
she
nah.
also told me when she was, before that, she lived in Beverly Hills and went to the house of Agnes Moorehead. Now, if you're old,
Yes, I know, Agnes.
who was it? What was one of her famous roles back in the 60s?
Prior to Bewitched?
No, on Bewitched. Yes, I can think of-
Esmeralda.
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, she played Andorra,
Yeah.
right? She played on Bewitched. She played Samantha's mother.
Right.
She was great in that role. So this would have been, late 60s, early 70s. Everybody knew who she was. She dressed up as Andorra and answered the door.
See?
Yeah,
Nice.
and she said she
Did
was
she
a
give
nice
out
old lady.
she give out
Yeah.
the king size though?
She
Yeah.
probably gave out king size, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, not walnuts.
Not walnut. All right, Adam. Mr. Controversial Candy.
Hang on, Adam. One thing I did hate too getting for Halloween was erasers and pencils. Why would you give
Like
that shit
random
away?
stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
like
I never-
being in Florida, I would get either
Bizarre.
erasers or like school supplies. I'm like, why would you give out school supplies on Halloween?
Yeah, school started, I guess.
And then there's just one lady that lived in a neighborhood that gave everyone 5 pennies. So
Oh, that was nice.
classic.
I was like,
You ever have
thank
people
you?
like
They're good luck.
they set out the whole bowl and just say,
Take one.
Oh,
take
yeah.
one,
Oh,
and
I
it's
love
gone
that.
in
You're like,
2
I got the
minutes.
whole bag. So, all right, for me, my least favorite, obviously, candy corn. It's like the grossest thing ever.
Yeah.
You bite into that, it's like chalk, and then you like the more you just
No.
yeah, it's
You're
gross.
you're allowed to your opinions. It's okay.
No,
Well,
you,
It doesn't matter what part you bite off first; it's all garbage.
you're a communist.
And then and then I agree, good and plenty. I hate black licorice; that's gross.
Oh, good. Yeah,
But
I'm with you there.
red vines are awesome. Anyway, probably the good side, I would say anything sour. I like Sour Patch Kids. Or,
Okay.
Or
Okay.
like Nerds, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Okay.
Everybody loves that.
It's
All
classic.
right.
And then I looked this up. So Halloween Express did a survey of 2,000 people.
Okay.
And this was some of their favorites. And they did it by state, which I thought was cool. So in Nevada, the favorite candy is Butterfingers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But overall, the favorite for the country is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups
Yep.
or
Good
Snickers.
choice.
Sounds
Pretty
fair.
close.
Sounds fair.
Snickers are good too.
Alaska and Maryland, the only 2 states that their favorite was Nerds, and
Oh,
then
what?
and then Hawaii was Sour Patch Kids. Strangely enough, that was the
Wow.
only one.
Very nice.
And then on the bad side, least appreciated, we'll say,
Yeah.
candy corn and licorice, number 1 and 2. And then some other.
That's a lot of communist people out there, Jamie.
Yeah,
That's
candy
right.
corn is
That's
terrible.
true.
Everybody
That's
agrees candy
true.
corn is terrible. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good day to you, sir. Good day, I say.
Good day. And then some other negatives I thought was funny. You guys mentioned some of these. Pixie Sticks, Tootsie Rolls, Almond Joys, Raisinets, Hot Tamales, Dots, and Whoppers.
I see.
See, I enjoy Whoppers, dude.
See,
Oh,
I will
Whoppers
gladly
are pretty good.
trade
I like
my Tootsie
Whoppers.
Rolls for Whoppers. Like that's an easy trade for me.
Yeah.
We're good.
see, Adam, I wouldn't have done the walnut move, the Crosby walnut move. But,
See, now I just give out the candy, but I
Yeah.
segregate it. So I have what I call the good stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, I'm going to have too much because I don't have a lot of kids come to my house. So I'm going to say, I'm going to get stuck eating this, so I'm going to get the stuff that I like, which is going to be the Milky Way and
The good stuff.
Nah,
good
see,
stuff.
I haven't handed anything out for years.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I said
Bah
okay.
humbug.
So, but then I also one time I was at Costco, and they sold those little Lindt chocolate squares. They're usually really good.
Oh,
but one of
yeah.
the times it seemed to me that they just said, let's see if we can make this taste really bad. So they put pepper in it, and I don't know, it tastes like shit. So
Yeah.
I still have that. So when somebody comes to the door, if they're kids in costumes, they get the good stuff. If it's some high school kid just dressed as himself, one time I said, "What's your costume? What are you, an adult?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you're getting one of
right.
these Lindt chocolates that's 3 years old that has been sitting in the back.
Have you guys seen the Halloween pranks out there? There's a couple folks where they grab the whole head of onions and they dip it in caramel. So it's like caramel apple.
bastard.
And they hand those out. I'm like, that's brilliant.
No, if you're gonna
That's
do
trick or
that,
treat.
if you're gonna do that, a nice fresh bunch of Carolina Reapers, just to give them out and see the kids
man.
die right on your lawn. No, I'm just kidding.
Here, have some ghost peppers.
That's
Enjoy.
right.
Happy
That's
Halloween.
right. All right. So, do you guys like to be scared?
I find it very kind of hard to get that, real reaction of fear. You
Yeah.
know, haunted houses are kind of funny to
I mean,
me.
between the games and the movies and
Yeah,
and
I like
and all
horror
this,
though.
do you-
Obviously I
yeah.
watch The Walking Dead.
But do
I
you
like
like
the zombie
to?
stuff.
Yeah, but are you scared?
No, I think it's more entertaining.
Yeah. Now, do you have people that you know? I mean, like, do you have a friend out there
Who's
that
just like
that just scared?
screamer?
Yeah, the screamer.
That scares easily.
You got anybody
Kevin-
that talks
Kevin
to the
kinda?
screen?
I have one.
That
I have a friend that gets
don't
scared
go open that door. Don't go in there. Don't that whole thing?
Yeah.
You do have a friend. You don't have to name him. Do you have a friend though?
Yeah.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay.
I
Male. Okay.
I scared him once.
And he
at
screamed
work.
like a girl.
Yeah, I felt bad because he ended up crying.
Why would you feel bad?
He ended up crying, and I was like, "Fuck, this is totally back."
I got him.
Well, because like
Is this recent?
no, this was like a long time ago.
Okay.
I sent him to go clean the theater by himself, and I knew he was gonna clean the theater by himself because it's an empty ass theater. So I let him clean the theater by himself. I just come around the corner.
Yeah.
I ducked by the the seats area, and he just come around the corner. I popped out, and I'm like, and I screamed his name, and I popped out like that. But I'm a big guy, so.
Yeah.
He drops his scoot and broom, runs to the wall, and starts crying. He's like,
Oh, man.
like he was in
He
shock.
Blair Witched him. Man.
Yeah, like he didn't see it coming at all.
Wow.
Because like
Is this the same person that we sent in? It was about the time when The Ring came out, and we sent in JJ with the hair down like the Ring girl.
I think it's the same guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's the same guy. Yeah,
I think I know
But
what we're talking
he
about.
he gets scared easily, and we got him so well. We get him multiple times, but the poor guy. But when he started breaking down crying, I was like, "Fuck, okay, it backfired."
Now,
Never mind.
how about not horror? I mean, do you guys like to? I mean, is there anything that's situations that you put yourself in for entertainment purposes, of course, to scare? I can't think of a thing. How
like
about-
roller coasters or
Well, yeah, perfect example. Roller coasters.
I love roller coasters.
Yeah.
If I fit,
If you,
Right.
yeah,
that's the problem.
that
Yeah.
same problem. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm too tall, so
You're
the
too
harness
tall.
doesn't come down
Yeah.
all the way.
I'll tell you what. The
And that's
first time
liability.
that I went on the the drop one,
Lex Luthor Drop
Yeah,
of
the
Doom.
Drop of Doom.
Yes.
I was legitimately kind
And I was with you.
nervous.
Was I with you?
Oh,
think so.
nice.
And
nice.
because it's just straight up, straight down.
Yeah.
And I was pretty nervous.
When it
going
goes
on.
up,
Pretty
it keeps
scared.
going.
How was the seat itself? Was it one of
It
those
was fine,
freestanding seats or?
Oh,
that
yeah,
rotates?
you're
strapped in.
no,
Okay.
it's a
Chest,
eight people across,
Okay.
and then it goes around the pole. I think there's 24 people total on the one.
Okay.
And it just takes you straight up there, and you keep going and going and going.
Seems like forever.
Yeah, and then it drops you, and then it has a couple of drops. But then I think you'll agree that the fear is replaced by kind of nice. It's actually
Yeah.
very nice.
It is. Yeah.
It's
It's
not-
kind of like when I went skydiving. A little nervous going up in
Yes.
this rickety ass plane, right?
Yeah.
And then
Right.
and then you're sitting on the edge and like, oh fuck, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then once you're going in free falling, it's like, wow, this is actually kind of peaceful and cool. And then
Yeah.
you just kind of focus in on what's around you. And
I
it's
think one of
not
the
scary at all.
scariest rides is still it's a small world, bro. All those animatronics. I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
They're gonna come to life.
That's all right. Well, Sam actually sent me a really cool article we can go through a little bit if people know about being scared. The article deals with, there's three topics as to why people love to be scared and why people are scared. First one is the creation of tension. The horror films and the horror genre create tense moments. I mean, the classic shutting of the medicine cabinet, mirror, and there's that. That's what I mean by tension.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is, which I found most interesting, is relevance. That's why, unfortunately, our horror films now are the relevance they have to attach to are just dismemberment and beheadings and just awful things. But because it's relevant, it makes the tension higher. And it's relevant to us in the contemporary moment of that we live in. And lastly, which is, it seems to be counterintuitive to relevance, but it's really not, is we can accept it and have fun with the horror and the scare and the fear because of its unrealism. There is something in the back of our brains that center us and say it's not happening. But unfortunately, I think that boundary is crossed by Eli Roth and people of his genre, because the hostile, it can happen. It's a terrible, it's ear and eye porn. I mean, it's just awful.
Horror porn genre.
Yeah. And all of this together create it pushes our button, which is very simple. And this button gets pushed a lot, but it's the fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And I'll go through this really quickly. We're not a biological podcast, but I thought that was very interesting. It starts in the thalamus, where that's where the fear is sent. That's where the initial sensory response hits into the sensory cortex, and then it determines what is this, and then it sends that signal to the hippocampus, and that stimulates the context of the fear, and then that's where your memories come in. Why am I scared? Okay, this is why I'm scared. I was scared by this before. I saw Sam and I was scared.
Big people, man.
That's right.
You should see my cat.
Then it goes to the amygdala, which then decodes your emotions. It figures out, okay, this is what's happening. You got fear. You got a little, they refer to it as glee. I thought that was very interesting. And then decodes what's happening. And then finally it ends up in the hypothalamus, which then activates your fight or flight, which is, I found that very, very interesting. And all of this, of course, in just moments after seeing Sam.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, well, there's always, we all know we're going to die, right? I mean, that's something that everybody has to deal with. So to be able to watch somebody on screen, if it's a movie, die in a way that's like, hey, I know I got to go, but hey, I'd rather go, with a Brazilian hooker than the way that woman did and then end up in the meat freezer, so there's that. And in whether it's literature, whether it's movies, there's really three types. I remember hearing this back when I was literature major, that are designed to get a physical response out. Of course, there's horror. You're scared, you're frightened, or whatever. There's comedy. That's kind of the opposite, but it makes you laugh. That's a physical response to the stimulus. And then there's pornography that rouses you sexually. So those are the three types, and they're all very popular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People go there for some type of titillation.
Yeah, but I think that Adam and Sam's generation, I think there's a certain numbness. You've seen it all. You've experienced it all, and that's why our current directors and filmmakers and game makers and whatnot are there's an envelope edge that they just keep pushing and pushing forward and forward and forward. I don't know if you guys
raise the stakes.
Yeah, now I can't say I was ever scared by anything on a media level, but I think you guys and your generation are absolutely not impressed by anything.
Phased.
Yeah, you're not phased.
I think the only thing that really phased
except
us,
your friend.
or no, the only thing that really phased us
There's a few
was
of us.
the presidential election. I'm sure that
Yeah,
phased us.
yeah.
That scared the shit out of
Pretty
us.
fucking scary.
Yeah.
Well, John, yeah,
Scariest movie I've seen in a long time.
John
Called
said
Life.
John said pornography, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But I promised the guys from Oceans 14 XL. I was talking to them, and we had a great conversation about Vegas and what's going on, and them being as consumers of Vegas, and me being an employee and a resident. I told them I promised them stories of our industry Halloween experiences. So I'm going to bring up a few.
Vegas, baby,
John,
Vegas!
jump in anytime, and Sam, with your background, the
Been there for quite a bit.
pit clerk and limousines, and Adam as a dealer. Oh dear. If somebody said Halloween in Las Vegas, my first memory, which this is kind of sad, John, my first memory is a guy wearing a Slimer costume, a good one. With the translucent. It was wonderful. It was like a Hollywood, made costume. And he wanders in from the valet, and we had this big fountain, as I've said at the Venetian very many times. And he lifts up the costume and pees right in the fountain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart
Yeah.
person.
Right. Oh yeah. Slimer
Just
peeing
slime
in
the
the
fountain.
Yeah, and it amazes me. But the next one that I remembered. I'm sure you guys remember this as children. I don't know if you played with these toys. He-Man, She-Ra. You remember the cartoons?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And they were. Were they a couple in the cartoon series?
I think so, as far as I know.
Was
Like
it a thing?
later in the series themselves, they teamed up.
Because they were a couple in a Venetian elevator.
They got real close.
Yeah.
They were wrestling. They were fighting it out.
Yeah,
They used the Power of Grayskull.
That's right. Yeah, and the big sword. Yeah. There was a He-Man and She-Ra costumed couple. They were detained. By our security guards. John's
So it was,
that's the Venetian. Yeah.
It was his sword and her cat.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I, for all the fans of my topless reports, literally too many to mention. Halloween and New
Halloween
Year's
was the
Eve.
time. Yeah, New Year's Eve. I got probably more New Year's Eve
I
stories
saw
than
the
Halloween
most
stories.
boobies on Halloween.
There's a lot more in Halloween because everyone goes as a sexy so and so,
And that's
sexy
easy,
this,
yeah.
sexy
That's
that,
right.
and you're like, whatever.
But the one I know,
Too easy.
It's too easy. But the one I remember, which was I think the most at any given time. And I don't know where you were for this one. I thought you were with me on this one, but I don't think so. There was a group, a bachelorette party, of course, but they all decided to wear Lara Croft.
Nice.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, and they were 12, and they all came up. and they said, and I said, oh, that's really cool. And they were all very attractive, very young. One of them was getting married and had the little veil on with the Tomb Raider thing, which was strange. But all 12 of them stood right in front of the desk, showed me their costumes, and then asked me to judge
Which one was the best?
which
Lord
one
Croft?
was
Come on, man.
Which one was had the best boobs. And they all lifted their shirts. So I literally had 12 Lara Crofts in front of me
Nice. I
topless.
would've
That doesn't
remembered
happen.
It
You're
does.
lying.
No, it does. And now I couldn't take a picture at the time. I think I had
So
a
you
flip
got
phone
all the
at the
good
time.
stuff.
I know. So
Sounds like a rough life.
yeah, it
sounds like a
does.
rough life.
It does.
Sometimes the job sucks.
Yeah. And then we had every time this happened, they didn't even make it to the casino. We have a lot of people that make a part of their costume the scooters, rascals, the little handicapped scooters,
yeah.
and they would roll in. The best one I ever saw was a remake. The entire thing was Herbie the car. Remember Herbie?
Oh, yeah, remember Herbie the
Yeah,
Love Bug.
The bug.
and it was a scale model of this sucker built around a scooter, and he comes flying in there, and of course
And
they're
they're like,
they're all just tackled before they make it to the rugs of the casino. But John, what do you remember?
Well, see, you got the good stuff. You
Did
got
I?
you got the tits and
Peeing in the
everything like
fountain?
that. And I worked the day after. So what I remember once was I'm standing there, at the desk. We have that the desk is raised. It's
Right,
got the
right.
marble, and one of the limousine drivers come over, which is unusual
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really handle the hotel limousines. That's the casino, and he says I need a car. I said, well, who's it for? And he doesn't say anything. He just uses his eyes and he looks straight down. So I lean over the desk. I look down there, and way down there, at the bottom is a midget, but not just any midget. It's the guy from
Vern Troyer.
It's Vern Troyer. But the first thing I think about, and he was in Mini-Me that had just come out, right? My first thought wasn't, it's a guy from the Austin Powers movie. My first thought was, holy shit, that guy's short. I mean, comparing him to like someone like Peter Dinklage, who's also a dwarf. Oh Christ, he wouldn't come up. I swear to this fucking guy came up to my knees.
He's almost a baby.
Yeah. And I look down there, and he looks up at me, and I could tell by that look that he's hungover. His eyes are bloodshot. He needs a shave. He's wearing a purple suede jacket, and he's just looking at me like I said, like a goddamn mean shrew or something, or like a Wolverine. I'm looking down at him. So I said, what was your room? And he tells me, and I look, well, he was an invited guest of whoever was on that room. He was just an additional guest.
Right.
He was staying under the nom de plume of Mighty Mouse. So like I said, oh, shit, it's not even his room, because he was really a guest of the nightclub, and for the Halloween party. And they're not owned by the hotel. I said, well, let me go see. So I went and I asked the hotel manager. I said, I got a guy out here, and I told him the story. He goes, and he wants to look at it. What does he look like? I said, you can't miss him. He's 2 feet tall. That's the one. The one who go out there is 2 feet tall. So he looked at her, and he looks at his full. He goes, no, I can't approve that.
Yeah.
He didn't pay for his room.
Right.
So I go out there, and I'm looking down there. I said, gee, I'm really sorry. He goes, fuck you. And then he just kind of, I'll take a cab. And he just scurried out like a cockroach. Going out the door. Then I thought, let me give you a help out there. I'll give you a kick in the.
Now
I've heard that he's kind of a mean little.
Yeah. And there is currently, you can go to the Mirage Hotel all the way back towards the convention facility, and there is a cafe. Across the way from the cafe is a yogurt place. You and I have actually been there, Adam. And there is a rolling set of pictures of the celebrities that have enjoyed their yogurt. One of whom is Vern Troyer.
Oh,
and he looks equally bad.
Yeah, well, Julia's not here to tell the story, but she had told me, when you have her on the next time, she can confirm this. I think she was working, it was before the Venetian, I think she worked at the Hard Rock, or is it the Rio? Maybe the Rio.
Rio.
She worked at the Rio in VIP, and Vern Troyer's in there, and Julia's probably 21 years old.
A young buck.
Yes, and Vern Troyer looks up top of the mountain up there, and says something to his handler or his manager. So he picks up Vern Troyer and sets him on top of the counter so he could look her right in the eye. Hey, baby. Ooh.
How you doing, sexy?
How you doing? You ever have a midget?
All right, what do you got?
Famous.
What do you got, Sam? You got
for customer-wise?
Yeah.
Man, I think the one annoying part is every Halloween, like, there's signs posted saying you have to take off your mask. And surely enough, they all walk in and they're always wearing a mask, and it's my job to ding them, to be the bad guy. They're like, well, it's Halloween. I'm like, I understand, but you guys don't understand. I'm clocked in. My job is to tell you to take off your mask. And they always throw a tantrum and a fit. It's like, dude, it's not my fault, man. I appreciate your costume, but I'm just doing my job. Don't get mad at me.
Like, how am I supposed to win the costume contest?
That's your fault, not mine. I'm sure, especially this year, there'll be more regulations now with costumes, like no weapons.
Oh yeah,
take off your mask for sure.
Yeah,
it's like it's gonna be more heavy. But like for funny story, I would have to say we had a distress call from one of our drivers, and he was saying that the ring ghost got the hair stuck in the window of the limousine because he told her she can't stand out through the top part of the roof. But she didn't listen. So she was coming down and closing the window. It got stuck. And I'm like, I don't know what to do, dude. Like, you're going to have to bring her back to the yard or tell her to take off the wig. Because I thought it was just a wig. Turns out it was her hair.
Yeah. Not so lucky, huh?
No. She was pretty pissed, and she didn't tip him.
Yeah, no doubt.
No kidding.
Well, she shouldn't have done what he told him not to do.
Exactly. Like, you were already warned, like, please don't do that. Oh, okay, you want the full Vegas experience? Here you go.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
Have fun.
That's funny.
At the hospital.
How about you, man? How about dealing?
I really don't have any stories of crazy customers
really?
dealing. No, a lot of them are just.
Well, and a lot of
stop
people.
And goes
yeah. And like Sam said, I mean, if they had a mask on, they were asked to remove it immediately.
You either gone or you take it off.
No swords, no pitchforks, no guns, of course. A lot of people had such intricate costumes. Back in the day when it was clever, of course, the guy with the serial killer, the guy with the boxes of cereal and knives in them.
Yeah.
And it was the one store I remember, and we had a nightclub at the Venetian called C2K. It was ill-fated from the beginning, but it was nicely built. I mean, it was a beautiful club. But on Halloween night, I was called to help with crowd control. More to the point, I was called to help deal with people that were complaining, because you had to, in clubs and most special occasions, especially New Year's, you pay a special fee. Beyond bottle service, beyond booths and everything else, you pay a special fee just to get in. And we had wonderful Halloween parties and everything else. And of course, C2K, I think it was like a $1.50, to get $150 over and above, what you pay for drinks. And I remember this, Steve Aoki, when I don't think he was a big deal back then. Not as big as he is now. Of course, he's kind of old school now.
The beginning of the surge.
And he was going to run the tables there, and their big thing was the foam. Foam was big back then, and they one of the foam guns was not properly calibrated and was aimed at the DJ stand. and it didn't come out as foam; it came out as water, basically. And they just drenched the DJ stand. And of course, there was an electrical issue.
Electricals.
Everything stopped. The lights came up, and they sent me over to deal with. I'm sorry, sir. Here's a buffet coupon, and so on and so forth. It was like the Riyadh tickets for you guys for
some free stuff. Here you go.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, we screwed up.
Oh yeah,
such a nightmare.
But I got to tell you, we're always talking about negative stuff, and that's usually the funniest. But at MGM. I happen to remember they have Hakkasan now, which is one of the world's top clubs. It's a great club, hard to get in if you're a guy, but it reminded me of one of the better Halloween times that I was not working that night, and we were with a couple of the concierge. I don't know if you were there, John. But they had a remake of a wonderful club, Studio 54, out of New York City.
Yeah, we'd been to that one.
Yeah, and I still, when people say and people argue with me as the day is long, I still say that was one of the best, if not the best clubs in town. It was a 3-level, great club. They ran the VIP line correctly, and
chicks in cages,
go-go girls, and it was a fantastic time. And they did an unbelievable Halloween party. I missed that. It was so fun. Very controlled. It was fun. People didn't act like jerks. There were 3 levels, and luckily I was able to be in the VIP area where you could get away from it for a little bit.
Wait, it sounds like it was ran with logic and common sense. Is that real?
No, not anymore.
What?
Not anymore. Yeah, this is a while back.
Not anymore. Yeah, there's no common sense in the world anymore.
So we have to mention how logic and common sense was cool back in the day.
That's right. Back in John's day.
Yeah, that's right.
That
I
kind of hurts
remember when
me.
it went extinct.
It died in the 80s, I think. Well, so all this partying ends up, unfortunately, and everybody here in the studio knows this, and this is my brain grinder. There's a movie I can't remember for the life of me, and they didn't. It was zombies, and they didn't say brains. They said meat, and it was hysterical because it was this zombie chasing this poodle. And it was like meat, and it was, I don't know what it was, but I'll figure it out. But it always ends up in the same way. And John, unfortunately, worked during the daytime right after myself and Julia and all the rest of the cast worked at night. And I still don't understand, and you guys can tell me if your generation does this. I don't understand partying till you puke.
Oh, God, yeah.
And do you need to do that every time? Now, I understand if you're new to drinking.
I don't think it's a generation thing. I think it's an age thing.
I agree with that.
You think so?
Yeah, it's definitely an age thing.
After like 26, 27, you get a little wiser. Not a lot. Just enough to know not to drink
Not to get to that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we have a friend who shall remain nameless who would get to that point at every party.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We had a special garbage can with his name on it.
Yeah.
So that he could,
he
remains nameless.
Throw him
in the corner.
He was marked a few times.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely
you
marker.
sharpied him.
Yeah, the Sharpie.
Yes, he was Sharpie.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know that slowly fades out.
Now,
Yeah,
You get to
definitely.
the point where you just can't handle that anymore. The
now,
day after, gets longer and longer. So.
I'll ask you guys because I as the panel knows, I am not. I'm sober as a judge, always been my whole life, and illicit substances have escaped me, thankfully. Now, I don't understand. I have been told by drinkers, not alcoholics, just drinkers, that when if you have one more, I'm done.
And then you drink it anyway.
And you drink it anyway.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, because I think your mind is the point where you can't make rational decisions anymore. That's why they keep you drunk in the casino.
Yes.
And it's just like, I'm feeling really good, and then it's just like somebody offers it to me, and you realize if I don't drink it, then I'll come down a little bit.
Now, is that drink different? Is there a drink that where you're, okay, if I drink that, I'll be drunk? And then is another drink later on in the series is the one where I'm going to head to the drink it and head to the bathroom.
Sometimes I remember with my own experiences, it would be how fast I drank it, because often there's that time delay.
Yes.
So I can't really, hey, I just drank 4 beers in 45 and a half an hour later, and all of a sudden, bam, it hits me. It's kind of like almost people who overeat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you go to the buffet and it's just like, ooh, I'm going to have one more go
one
round,
more
right?
crab leg.
Why did you do that? One more crab leg. So it's like you weren't hungry anymore.
Yeah.
You ate it anyway. So I remember times, when young and getting sick. And someone said, dude, did you throw up? And I said, man, I don't know.
Not yet.
I don't know. I think I did. But you get that look. You can spot it then in somebody else. So when Gio and I went to Las Vegas and I'm looking around and I see some dude.
Once you get the glazed eyes.
He's got the glazed eyes. I said, watch out.
That's
for
the
that
one
guy.
drink away.
The glaze and a wobble.
Watch it. I said, he's going to puke. Believe me, he's going to puke within 10 minutes. So we walked away. We came back, and the guy was gone, but there was a big puddle of puke right there.
Like that
I
was
said,
him.
I told you, man.
So you really do know.
Oh, yeah.
You do know. Plus,
I
think also another factor is if you have a designated driver, too. That's a big factor. Like, say you're out drinking, and someone's going to drive you or babysit you, you're going to go,
I'll have that last drink.
Yeah, you're going to go ape shit. But if you know that you don't have a D&D or you have to do something else later, then you would kind of pace yourself or bring it down a little bit.
Maybe if you're
50-50.
if you're our age, if you're like 21, you don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, if
You
you're
can party like every
if
day
you're
in
like
a row.
25 and below, you're gonna go ape shit either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And hope it works out.
And here's what's something interesting. Last Sunday, I had to take a trip, and I had a Lyft driver come pick me up, and I was talking with him because he usually works because I had to leave really early in the morning, and he told me it's been his experience that most of the time the ones who puke or he's got to pull over and let them out are women. I thought, oh, that's interesting because I rarely knew women I really didn't know many women that drank that much.
They probably don't know their limit, like when that last drink will hit them.
Yeah.
When they
Now,
cross the line.
Do you guys believe? I heard this the other day on a movie, and I'd never heard it before, but I absolutely think it's possible. Do you guys believe in the drink count between you and a woman that's your friend, or vice versa, or a man that's your friend? So the number of drinks you drink to get drunk and her number of drinks to get drunk combined, if you drink those combined in any version, like if yours is 10 and the girl that is just your friend is 5, but you drink 15 in some combination, you guys will have sex.
What?
I had never heard this theory before.
Yes.
No.
No, I don't
So
believe
if your drunken rate is 6 and hers is 3,
Yeah.
if you drink 9 drinks,
I'll be drunk enough to have sex with her.
like if you
regardless.
accidentally drink 8 and she's 1, you're gonna have sex.
Wow.
No.
I don't
No?
see this. This never worked out for me. Anyway.
I guess it works in a movie because it's a movie.
Yeah. Okay. I'd heard that and I thought that was hysterical. I
What
thought that was
movie
wonderful.
was this?
Sounds
hilarious. Sounds like
yeah,
a comedy
it
movie.
was a rom-com of some sort. But okay.
Maybe test this theory out.
Ask your friend. Yes. Well, make sure to test it on the right person.
But what's really bad, and I think would turn anybody off to drinking, go to Japan, ride the trains at night. By night, I mean like after 8 p.m. And because you have all these, what they call the salary man, just the office grunt. And, work lets out at 5, but they always see how hard they work. Well, they consider going out drinking with everybody on your team part of the work day.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't, in general, don't have a real high tolerance of alcohol. They do things that are like, I would say, don't do that unless you really want a hangover. Don't start mixing your alcohol. Don't start with beer and go to whiskey and then have sake.
Right.
Stick with one kind and you'll feel much better in the morning. No, you don't do that.
Sake.
So they come on the train and they're red faced, and you're sitting there and the guy's holding onto that strap and
For
it's
dear
moving.
life.
And then you see him going like this,
Oh.
and you're saying, "You don't you dare puke! I'm watching you. I'm watching you because as soon as I see him get ready to launch, I'm jumping out of that seat."
Right.
You know. And I've seen guys. One time, a guy sat there. He opened his briefcase and he just
Oh no! In his
puked
briefcase.
in his briefcase, closed it up, and
my
another
God.
guy
And
untucked
just walked
his.
away with it. He's
The
like,
worst
taking
one,
this
though.
home with me.
A dude untucked his shirt, bloused it
no.
like this, bloused it, and then
Yeah.
Oh
and
man!
then walked off the train with it. I thought,
My God!
he's gonna
Like,
go
I
home.
gotta go throw this away
Honey,
somewhere.
I'm home.
Well, we'll go full.
Well, plus, don't they also play those drinking games too in Japan?
Oh,
They have like multiple
Yes.
drinking games out there.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, we'll go first full circle, and I will make this guarantee, and I'm sure I'll get support here. For those of you who love Las Vegas, if you're coming here, if you're here, well, obviously this is Halloween night. I guarantee you, if you can make it out about midnight, maybe 1 a.m. If you make it to the Bellagio fountains, I guarantee you will see a motley crew of Trumps and Princess Leia's.
Or maybe even Motley Crue themselves.
Yes, or maybe even Motley Crue.
and Wonder Woman's.
James Simmons'
Drunken Pikachus.
Drunken Pikachus, and they are waist over
well, they're gonna be there.
the rail and puking the Bellagio fountain. Trust me.
Oh, I hadn't
Which is
thought
the
about
gray
that.
water,
Trust me.
right?
Yeah, it's the gray water.
Definitely.
It's the gray
They're
water.
gonna have to do some cleaning up tomorrow.
It's gonna be more green than gray, I think. But yeah, I guarantee it. So if you want to see a little bit of fun Las Vegas and see the costumes, go out early, and you'll see a wonderful group of people and see all the new costumes
While
that come
they're
on the strip
sober.
While they're sober, and then later on the darker side of Las Vegas, you can see the Bellagio fountains.
I think the same rule applies to St. Patty's Day too.
Yes.
Yes, the same rule applies to St. Patty's Day because everyone's wearing their full gimmick and gear, ready to go at like 6-7 p.m. Then boom, like
right.
midnight, 1
Downhill
o'clock.
from there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all done. Everyone's like, huh, they're all puking all over the place. You're like, oh, cool. Yay.
Well, ending here, we're going to end with, of course, Area 52.
Yes.
Adam made mention of his friend who lives in Tonopah. Who's your friend?
My brother actually.
Or your brother, I apologize.
Yep.
Chris.
He lives around Mountain now, but he was in Tonopah.
So Tonopah. And I will start it by saying in my opinion, one of the most difficult words to say just when you see it first. It's coulrophobia, and that's COULRO phobia, coulrophobia. And that is the clinical term for the fear of clowns.
Nice.
Oh,
So
okay.
it.
Yes, very timely. Now, the reason I mentioned coulrophobia is that there is Tonopah is still considered a mining town, very small mining town, and very, very small. I mean, I think it's under 1,000 people that live there. But there is, and has been for many years, a clown motel.
Yeah.
Well, this has gone up for sale recently. There was a man, it's for sale now by a man named Bob Prichetti. He owns it now, and he bought it from a family of people, and he's owned it for years. Well, Bob, he's done. Apparently, the people in Tonopah think of this in a very
Historical landmark.
historical, nostalgic way. They love the Clown Motel. And to add to its mystique, it's right next to a historical cemetery. Yeah. And
Is it haunted by any?
it
I was
is.
gonna
They
say.
claim it's haunted.
There you go. Why not?
It doesn't matter because haunted or not, they also claim there are 600 clowns of different and varying sizes, shapes, and media.
Creepy beyond anything.
Oh my God, I would never go. But
Are they like actual people dressed up as clowns or just the dolls?
Porcelain clowns, painting of clowns, clown,
okay. Even
everything.
creepier.
Yeah,
Cool.
even
Cookie
creepier.
jars.
Clown
Every-
memorabilia.
Every room of this tiny motel are decorated in a clown motif.
Clutter of clowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you don't have
Sounds like a horror movie.
if you don't have coulrophobia,
yeah.
go to Tonopah
You'll
and
have it
you
soon.
will. You will. But that is our Area 52. And please take a look at our blog. It's thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com or at thepodbaydoor.com. Just click on the WordPress icon. Everything we talked about, you're going to see a lot of clickable things, and you can talk to us and make all your requests there for all the information that you have. Sam, John, and Adam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I'd
on
also
here.
like to give out a shout out to
Yes.
her birthday today.
Yes.
It is Elsa Lancaster, who was the original Bride of Frankenstein. Last week I called her Ella. It was Elsa.
Elsa.
Today would be her birthday. She's dead now.
Okay.
But if she were alive, she'd be like 115. But I saw that October 28th is her birthday. So
Outstanding.
very fitting for
Outstanding.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, and please catch us. Coming up, we're going to have a couple of interviews. We're going to go back to the Indie Film Factory with Kelly Schwartz. He's got a lot of stuff to tell us what's going on over there. And we're going to have my friend Sophia. She is a singer in town, and she is going to tell us what it's like to be a singer in Las Vegas and work the lounge scene. But again, podbaydoor.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thanks to everyone listening and watching. You can catch the Pod Bay Door on the Podbean app or any of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher Radio. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast. Please download, like, and subscribe. Our social connectivity screen is coming up. Check in with us on Facebook, Twitter, and WordPress. The Pod Bay Door is closed and talent is out. Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.